Hello, students, and welcome to today's lesson. Our topic for today is content of social studies. Yes, we want to look at the subject social studies and what it contains. So let's begin by looking at the meaning of social study. Social studies can be defined as the study of man and his environment. So, yes, it all teaches us about man and its environment. Now, the nature or scope of social study is that social study is concerned about man and his physical and social environment and how the environment in turn influences man. So this is what social study really look into. So when we say physical environment, what do we mean? It means all that man can see around him and feel in his surrounding where he lives. For example, the rivers, the mountains, the hills, the forests, many other. These are the physical environment. Then when we say social environment, we mean the people man relates with, people around. This is the social environment. All right. So what are the objectives of social study? The objectives of social study. Number one objective of social study is to enable the student to understand his or her environment. Yes, to enable you understand your environment. So that's why we learn social study. Then, secondly, to become good, responsible citizens, willing and capable of contributing to the development of the society. So, these are another objective of social study. Then, on next is to encourage the students to embrace peace and shun every act of violence. Yeah, social study encourage students to embrace peace. And social studies also inculcate national consciousness, unity, and value. So it teaches us about unity, value, and how we can promote or build our nation. Then, lastly, objective of social study is to develop the ability to adapt. Yes, it helps us to develop the ability to adapt in our changing environment. So these are the objectives of social study. Okay, we'll go to the next part. What are the methods of learning or studying social studies? What are the methods? Yeah, they have listed four methods here. We have discussion method. And discussion method, for example, in a classroom where the teacher and the student can discuss about some things in social study. They can talk about culture, they can talk about the nation, they can talk about religion, the environment. This is one of the methods you can use to learn social study. Then the next one is observation method. For example, there is a tribe, a culture you don't really know about. You can observe how they do their things, especially maybe in their cultural celebration. If you observe them, you can learn from them. Then inquiry method is another method for learning social study. Inquiry method is to ask questions, go around, meet with people, and ask them things about their culture, their society, their language. Then the last year is the use of library materials. Yes, if you go to the school library, you can get materials to read about different culture or even different societies and nations and how they do things, what they believe in, and many other things. So these are the methods we can use to learn or study social study. Now, is social studies really important as a subject? Wow, we're going to find out right now looking at the importance of social study. Number one importance of social study is that it will help us to understand our physical and social environment. help us to understand our physical and social environment. Then also it teaches us, train us to be good citizens and nation builders. Yes, so that's another thing the knowledge of social study does for us. It teaches us and train us to be good citizens and nation builder. Also, it helps us to understand our culture and the culture of other people, then us and appreciate them. When you know about that post culture, you appreciate it very well instead of criticize it. Then also it help us to know and use the resources found in our environment. Yeah, social study is going to be teaching us about resources, the natural resources around us in the environment, and how we can use them. Then lastly, it helps us to learn about the past and the present experience and plan for the future. In social study, we are going to learn about some past events that has occurred and what is happening currently so that we can plan for the future. Now, research social study is the mother of modern social science, as the reason is because of its relationship with other subjects. So let's look at the relationship between social studies and other subjects. So first, we look at the relationship of social studies and geography. Yeah, social studies related to geography because it deals with the study of our physical environment. Geography is a subject you do when you get to the senior secondary school, and it teaches us about the environment, the study of our environment, the physical environment, the earth, and so many things of which social study teach us about the same thing. So you see, they are related. Then the relationship between social studies and agricultural science. I believe in class you will do the subject called agricultural science, where they will tell you it is the cultivation of land for the growing of crops and the rearing of farm animals for man and industrial use. You see, field study is also related to agricultural science because it deals with the improving of farming. Okay, so we'll go to the next subject, and next is the relationship between social studies and history. Social studies is also related to history because history deals with what past events, history, past events, without which what's happening in the present and will happen in the future cannot be understood, non interpret. If you don't have a knowledge of past events, for example, how the nation Nigeria gained independence, and how it started growing till this day, you will not really have an understanding of the future. So history tells us about past events. So as social studies, it tells us about past events. So in social study, we learn about some events that happened in the past. Then the next is the relationship between social studies and religious studies. When I say religious studies, I'm talking about CROS, IROS. For the Christians, it's called Christian Religious Study. And those who, the Muslims, those who are Islamic religion, they have what we call the Islamic Religious Study. So social study is also related to this religious studies, this subject, because religion teaches us about and good behavioral attitude, morality, knowing the difference between right and wrong, doing the right thing, and it is also taught in social study. So that is the relation. So in conclusion, social studies aim at creating educated individuals who can grow up to be responsible citizens of their nation. Okay, so I believe you've learned something about our topic, the content of social study. Thank you for listening and have a nice time.